I'm Nixon, and today I'm going to be talking about Germany's most underrated state, Thuringia, or Thüringen. It's located right at the heart of Germany in what used to be the GDR. But today I'm going to be talking about 5 great foods I tried while I was here, 5 things that were kind of a shock to me about German culture, and 5 great places to visit on your trip to Thuringia. The first destination I want to talk to you about in Thuringia is the city of Gotha. It's a pretty small city located around the center of Thuringia, and it's not too far from the state capital Erfurt. Thuringia is actually kind of a hidden gem, I would say, and I probably would have missed it if not for the fact that my town Gastonia has Gotha as a sister city. So I think I probably would have really missed out on what I think is actually a pretty cool town. They have a lot of really cool sights to see, like the Friedenstein Castle, which is probably one of the biggest castles in this area. The Kasematten, or the Casemates, which is a really cool underground area where you can kind of check out different tunnels below what used to be the former fortifications of the castle, and you can get an English tour, and the tour guide is actually really great. It's pretty easy getting around town. Driving is very easy. You can also take the tram, which is pretty simple, and there's also a bus system, and there is a train station too that can easily connect it to other larger cities like Erfurt. The first German food I'm gonna say you have to try is, for me, I love Spätzle. It's just a really good pasta dish, and I'm a big fan of pasta myself, so I felt like it was a really good meal. It was my first meal here in Germany, and it was just a really special. My family actually served it kind of with like a meat sauce on top, although that's not really the traditional way. But yeah, it can be served in a lot of different ways, and I just think it's a really good, kind of like a hearty meal. One shock that I had here that was kind of a funny thing is that, so all of the doors and windows here, maybe not all, but a lot of them, are made in a kind of a weird way to where the handle is normally horizontal, right, for a normal door. If you turn the handle down, it will lock the door or window, and then if you turn it completely vertical upwards, you can open the door vertically and then turn it again horizontally. But it's designed to where you can open your windows at night and let the air in, since there's not really any AC. But it makes total sense, but I just really thought I'd broken something in my host family's house at first. So yeah, it's just kind of a cool German engineering sort of thing. The second destination I want to talk about is the town of Oberhof. This is kind of more, I would say, in southern Thuringia, which is mostly where the mountains are in this state. And it's located at kind of a higher elevation because this is a huge winter sports town. They only have about maybe 1,600 people or so, but at certain times of the year, the city can host way more than that because they have cross-country skiing, ski jumping, bobsledding, and lots of different winter sports training facilities, which is really cool to go to Oberhof. And you can go indoors to find their gigantic indoor cross-country ski facility, and it's actually open to the public at certain times of the day and certain times of the year. Even in summer, like when I went, the weather can be pretty cold. It was about 48 degrees and rainy for me, which is probably why it was not my favorite city I visited, but I think it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you're really into winter sports. Another German essential that I've actually eaten several times on this trip is doner kebab. You have to have doner kebab. Even small towns like I'm in right now, Gotha, they have doner kebab. So it's super essential that you have to try this. Lots of different places kind of make it different ways, so you can try them out and see which one you like. I had 2 while I was in Munich for the weekend briefly, and then when I came back, I had doner kebab pizza, which is also really good. But yeah, it's just something you absolutely have to try. And if you're thinking, well, that's a Turkish meal, it's not really a German thing, well, actually it was invented in Berlin, so it really is kind of a German dish, and it's a really good one. Something else that I noticed here in Germany that was also mentioned to me by my host brother is that there's a lot of different, the main immigrant group I would say is there's a lot of different Arabs here. He told me that there are lots of people from Turkey, Iraq, Afghanistan. So you can definitely see that, I would say, in some of the culture here, because You can, like I said, it's really easy to find in pretty small towns a restaurant that you can get doner kebab. In my town, we have like 80,000 people, and we like just got one Turkish restaurant. And so there's like easily one or two Turkish restaurants in every single small town. It's almost like Mexican restaurants in the U.S. So that was pretty surprising, but it was really great, and it was actually a really good chance to eat some really good food too. The third city I wanted to talk about is the city of Erfurt. This is the state capital, and it has about 200,000 people, so it's probably the easiest one to get to because it's really easily reached, especially by train from basically any major city in Germany or any other small town within Thuringia. It can really easily get to Erfurt, which is right at the center. It has a lot of really picturesque areas within the city. They have cobblestone alleyways, beautiful houses and buildings, a gigantic cathedral, which is amazing. I heavily recommend going to the top of the Petersburg Citadel for a fantastic view of the city. I honestly wish I got to spend more time checking out this city because I felt like it had just the right mix of the city busyness mixed with a really cool, beautiful German, almost fairy tale feeling. So yeah, I highly recommend Erfurt, one of my favorite cities that I've checked out. I think it goes without saying that when you think of Germany and food, you have to get a bratwurst. I had bratwurst at kind of like a barbecue sort of thing, and it is really tasty. Honestly, I would say easily better than pretty much any hot dog in the United States. I don't even know if that's like a fair comparison, but yeah, it's just an absolute classic, and you have to try it if you come. Another thing that really shocked me here in Thuringia and Germany as a whole, I would say, is the amount of history they have here. Because my city is pretty young when you compare it to Gotha, because Gotha's been around for, it's debatable, but at least over 1,000 years, which is just absolutely insane to me, because no one here even seems to think that that's that impressive. And their castle, which is hundreds of years old, everyone will be like, yeah, it's pretty old. And it's just really insane to me, the amount of incredible history that they have here. And you wouldn't even suspect it to be in the state of Thuringia, but still there's so much here, from the time when it was in the Holy Roman Empire to World War II era to the East Germany, and then to modern day. There's so much to learn. The next city I want to talk about, number 4 on my list, is Eisenach. Eisenach is a little ways on the train line outside of Gotha for me, but I would say the town of Eisenach itself doesn't have anything you can't already find in a place like Gotha, where I've been living the whole time, but it does have a really special area just outside of the town. You can actually walk to it from the train station if you want to. The Wartburg Castle. This castle is really cool. It's kind of up on the mountain. It's a bit of a hike to reach it, but it's definitely worth it. You can spend like a couple hours just checking out this castle, like eating lunch there and just checking out the incredible view of the mountains. There's a lot of history at this castle because St. Elizabeth stayed here. Not only that, but so did Martin Luther while he was translating the Bible. And so it's really good to get a tour of the inside of the castle, because you kind of get to hear the different stories about the different people who have been here over time and all of the history that comes with it. Since the castle is, I believe around like 1,000 years old. It's very old. It's older than Neuschwanstein Castle. So there's a lot of really cool history there, and I think that that's definitely worth checking out. But the town of Eisenach itself is just, I would say, pretty cool. So another thing that a lot of people think of as a German classic is schnitzel, and while I think it is definitely worth trying, it's not my favorite thing I've had here in Germany. I think sometimes it can maybe be a little bit bland, but that might just be me. But it is definitely worth trying, and it is kind of a cool thing to eat. So another thing that kind of shocked me, this is kind of two things in one, is that, so they have a store here, it's called the Getränkemarkt, where it's a store that's only for drinks. They have all kinds of drinks. It's not like a liquor store necessarily, but they have obviously like alcoholic drinks, but aside from that, they have tons of water. A lot of it's carbonated water. and tons of different varieties of sodas and juice, and it's just a store just for drinks. And you can go to this store like this or another kind of store, and you collect all the glass and plastic bottles that you've used recently, and then you cash them back in for money. You like return them into a machine to get the money back. And when I did this with my host family, I think they got about 20 euros in return. So I thought that was a really interesting process that I think the US should definitely be introduced, because I thought it just seemed like a really efficient way to use all of the different plastics and things that you normally just throw away. My final destination that I want to talk to you guys about is the city of Weimar, and also the Buchenwald concentration camp, which is located just outside of the city and can be accessed by bus. So today I actually visited Buchenwald, and it is really a crazy experience. It's really interesting to see like the incredible tragedy there, but it was my first time seeing a concentration camp, and I felt like it was just a really interesting experience and something that you should definitely see if you're nearby here. The city of Weimar, which is adjacent to it, is a really beautiful city. It's, I believe, it's about maybe a little under 100,000 people, so it's a relatively small city, and you can get around most of it by walking or maybe by taking a bus. It's pretty accessible by train, and it's really known for a lot of the different arts. You have like famous poets like Goethe and Schiller, and it's kind of was the beginning of the Bauhaus architecture movement, kind of. So there's a lot of really cool arts history there if you're into that sort of thing, and they have lots of great shops and cafes, so that's a really cool area to spend the day. And maybe paired with Buchenwald, it makes for a really unique experience, I think. So my final recommendation as far as food goes is actually about drinks. So for drinks, I really loved in Germany the Apfelschorle and things like Fritz Limo and Fritz Cola. This is a brand of kind of like sodas that are from Hamburg, and they're actually really good. It's basically all different kinds of juices that are just carbonated. Like the Apfelschorle is literally just apple juice that's carbonated, and I love it. I don't know why we don't have it in the US. And there's a bunch of different other kinds. There's like carbonated like honeydew juice. There's one that's almost like Fanta kind of. And another great drink you have to try is Spezi. It's kind of like a cross between a Coke and a Fanta, but somehow it actually just works, and it's fantastic. So my final thing I wanted to talk about is that I think that there's kind of a stereotype in the US that German people are kind of cold or unfriendly, kind of harsh, especially to tourists, but I don't really feel like this was the case. Obviously, I have a host family who was super kind to me, and they were really welcoming, but aside from that even, I would say German people have been really kind. In fact, every time you like leave a store or a restaurant, even if you haven't bought anything, I've noticed that it's pretty customary just with manners to just say, tschüss or ciao, because when you're leaving, just a quick goodbye to the person working there, which I think is just a really good idea for good manners and just to show people like a little respect every once in a while. And I think it's just a really nice thing that should be done more often. But aside from that, also like when I went down to Munich, I think like the locals were telling us like ideas about what places maybe we should go and check out, some cool places there. And like late at night when we were like out in the streets of Munich, there were like some people that like approached us and just like struck up a conversation, and we talked for like 30 minutes. And yeah, I think German people are overall super nice, and I think that really if you come here, you'll definitely see that in all the people here. So if you're planning a trip to Germany and you're thinking about maybe going to somewhere like Berlin or Munich, maybe you should stop along the way in a state that has amazing nature, beautiful cities, and welcoming people. You should come to Thuringia. Keep traveling. Nixon out.